Formula Classic was formed late last year and has been racing this year in Western Australia. Historic racing and sports cars from the 60s up into the middle 80s, and a very wide and diverse field. Though there's a great following for historic cars and racing cars, not many of them are actually raced in Western Australia. It's certainly a bigger sport on the East Coast, a lot bigger sport, and overseas it's absolutely huge. One of the probably fastest growing forms of motorsport in the world is historic racing, as we see with the historic touring cars. This is a rolling start for these cars because they want to save the clutches. Some of these cars are very rare indeed, and one of those cars you see right now out in front is the Lola GTP of Paul Stubber. As they get off, he gets out of shape as they go off the start line. Car 3 is Michael Henderson as they head down into
we got one car off the infield.
West Track for the first time. That looks like, just can't quite pick up the number there.
36?
I think it might be the Reynard of Matthew Lyford.
Yeah, 36. Yep.
Of course, these cars are very varied of different formulas, and Michael Henderson taking the lead in the Rolt RT4, a car that was part of the Australian National Formula One series back in the 80s.
That's right, and for a number of years at Calder Circuit run the Australian Grand Prix with these cars.
Yep, it certainly did. Very quick, and at one stage held the lap record here for a long, long time. John Bowe holding that lap record. Michael Henderson was a former Formula Ford competitor and purchased one of these cars some time ago and slowly had it done up. The car that we see, the sports car here, the GTP car, the Lola, was commissioned by Chevrolet of America for the GTP championships back in the 80s. A number of them were built and didn't actually race. This is one of the only racing ones, or the only racing one in the world. Paul Stubber, of course, the man in the Camaro. Behind him is car number 48. That's another one of the Rolt RT4s of Tim Davies, the landscaper. And behind him, car number 42,
Dave
Turner, in a very rare Lola T492, 2-litre powered engine, sports car, built to international series. That car has raced right around the world, that little Lola. Beautiful car. All these cars you can see up in the paddock area. Then it's Dick Ward in car number 8.
The Chevron
B29, Formula 2 car, or Formula Pacific car of the year era. Dick has got this car up and running. He's now challenging underneath Dave Turner. They're having a bit of a scrap, which is great to see. It looks like he's going to come out ahead of him in the little race for the Watchtower Property
we go back
Trophy.
To car 24, which is the Shane Guilford in the fielding. The local built car built here in West Australia in the early 1970s.
Yeah, Shane Gifford, a Formula 2 car, 1600cc once again, slicks and wings.
We've got a car off at the top of the circuit. Paul Stubber's just spun up at Barbagallo Corner. He's getting back on the circuit now. Doesn't appear to have any damage to the car, thank goodness. Wouldn't want to bend one of the rarest GTP cars in the world. Michael Henderson, still our leader.
Yeah, pretty well running away with this race. Tim Davies now got up into second place in car 48. And then it's back to great drive in the little Chevron by Dick Ward, because Dick Ward has built many a sports sedan. The well-known little Fiat Abarth, and of course Mazda RX-7s that have raced all over Australia. Then it's Shane Gifford, one of the driving force behind the classic cars. Beautiful car number 80 out of the S-Cargo racing team, the Tiga SC80.
Paul Stubber coming into the
very
pits.
Rare. Dave Reynolds in the Rolt RT4. We go down through the field. Number 9, another beautiful car in Martin Bullock in the Chevron B15. Then the car at the rear of the field, very unusual looking car. Looks like a beast, and it is a beast, and it's having its first outing. It's had a few problems. Does it look like a Formula 1 car? Well, not quite. And it looks pretty beastly. It's actually a Lola. And unfortunately, I haven't got it in here, but it's a T800.
T800, yeah.
And it was built for actually Indianapolis, so therefore it's a 2.6 litre car, 2.65, I think. What were they? The Cosworth DFX motor, turbocharged. And unfortunately, Russell Sewell having a little bit of a problem with that car. Well, it's actually got a 5-litre motor in this one, so I got it a bit wrong about the original. But very Formula One looking style of car, very aerodynamic, very big wide car. Unfortunately, Russell's had a few problems getting it together and getting it sorted out, and missed out on practice yesterday with ride height problems. So I've sorted that out now, but obviously got engine problems. Car 68, Elliott Sewell in another Tiga. Tiga 80, FA 82, a car very similar to what Alf Costanzo won the Australian National Formula One Championship in back in the 80s. And of course, that particular car, of Alf's car, is actually in the paddock area today, belonging to a West Australian driver, and Joe Ricciardo, of course, father of Daniel Ricciardo, who's just won the British Formula 3 Championship.
Car number 7 in the pit lane.
Yep, number 7, a Lotus 2022, I think that is. Unfortunately, a bit of... That's the
problem.
Kirchhoff car. So really, you've got a travelling museum here of some very rare cars from back through the 60s. Car number 18, very famous car, Formula 2, going back into the late 60s, early 70s. That's the Jane Brabham. When we talk about Bob, Jane was very into very much open wheelers in those days. John Harvey drove for him, and a number of other drivers in open wheelers before he only took on sedans. The car going through number 10 across the start-finish line in the Beefer, driven by a well-known West Australian driver, George Cole.
Great variety of cars here.
Dave Watkins in car number 50. Dave driving a very rare Royale Formula Ford. Ray Stubber normally competes in a Royale Formula Ford, but he usually runs his in the outright class. Unfortunately, 69 has been forced to the pits with obviously problems.
Car 24, Shane Guilford having a great battle with John Pagonis in the number 80 Tiga.
Yeah, the beautiful Escargot SC 80 Tiga, 2000 sports car that they ran in England. Car number 32, very interesting car indeed. Andrew Gifford in the GWG Ford.
Another rare car.
48 goes through. That's Tim Davies in pursuit of our race leader, who's actually up through the BRDSs right now. Car 41 back down through the field, very unusual. Another one of the Escargot cars, and Rob Jordan of the Escargot team and his team have been working very hard to get these cars on the track. First time out. The Brabham BT41 never has fired a shot of anger on this circuit, and actually Miles Lockett, of course, the
Miles driving it this weekend, only got the call last Monday.
Yeah, well, Miles only just took out the West Australian Formula V 1600cc Championship very recently, and was called up and is having his first drive of that particular car. We just saw Martin Bullock head to the pits in car number 9. Very sad to see, very beautiful Chevron B15. These cars can be very temperamental at times, and they're fairly old, but they're also very, very quick. And look at some of the lap times they're knocking out. Henderson and Davies at 57 seconds.
New fastest lap for Tim Davies, a 57.1.
Yeah, both Dick Ward and Dave Turner are on the 62nd bracket. Then we go back to Shane Gifford, 62, as is Pagonis in that little sports car, the Tiga. Dave Reynolds getting a little bit used to the Rolt RT4, 63s. Then Elliott Sewell and the Tiga lapping in the 65s. Well off the pace that these cars could race at, but certainly a lot of these drivers don't do a lot of racing with these cars and treat them rather gently because they're quite valuable cars. Many, many thousands of dollars. Car number 29 going through. That's Glenn Swarbrick in the WA Racing Museum Macon Formula Ford car from the 70s. But you can see the Rolts still look very modern in some respects. A flat bottom car.
It's hard to think of them as a historic car.
Yeah, they still race them overseas. And but at one stage in Western Australia, we probably had one of the biggest grids of the Australian National Formula One, or what they call Formula Pacific in Europe, Formula Monde or Formula Atlantic.
Formula Atlantic in America.
Yep, so they Some were powered with different motors. I think in America they're mainly Toyota motors, but twin cam Cosworths, etc. were certainly part of the Australian scene. Another beautiful car, 36, Matthew Lyford in the Reynard navy blue car, just going down into West Track corner. Laps ticking away for these cars.
Another interesting car, number 10, the Beefer, being driven by James McDonald. James was a Formula V racer.
Yeah, certainly was a Formula V racer. And that's another car belonging to the WA Racing Museum, which is, of course, headed up by Neil McCrudden, who was out in the Macon Formula 2. I didn't see it out this time.
No, I don't think Neil's out there this week.
No. It was up in the pits, or actually practiced yesterday. So you can have a look at those cars. They're on the southern lawn as you head down towards McCracken House and just behind the grandstand if you're in the paddock area. Beautiful racing cars. And as I said, some of them worth many $1,000s and beautifully restored. It was interesting yesterday being down there, going down to have a look at a couple of the cars, spotting John Bow down there and Kim Jones from Team BOC also having a bit of a look. Kim was actually going to be one of the entrants. And yesterday morning, of course, race director Tim Schenken prowling around the cars and having a close look, particularly the Tigers, which he was involved in manufacturing along with Howard Ganley from New Zealand.
Yes.
So that's their first of 3 races, sponsored by Watchtower Property this weekend. Formula Classic, a chance to see some of the great Formula type cars and sports cars over yesterday.